Hello, hello, Gutsy women, and I hope you've had a wonderful day today. And today I have the privilege of interviewing the very lovely Helen Meurs. And Helen is let me get this right, a playful connector and puppetologist.
Yeah,
And
that's what I am.
yes, and that is a fascinating title. I've never come across that before. And so I know you work with puppets, with adults, and from our brief conversation, it's to help adults communicate better with children and to get much better relationships out of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's what I do. I use a puppet as a bridge between you as an adult and a child because a lot of times we don't speak the same language and you feel there is more going on with a child and yeah, how do you reach that child? That is something that we all have experienced, and a puppet can make a big difference in that because a child responds differently to a puppet than it does to you. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. So Helen,
Yeah.
can you tell people a little bit more about you and what actually got you into this? There's a story behind you getting here. So can you tell people a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I am Helen Meurs. I'm a Dutch teacher, a former Dutch teacher, and I became a teacher because I wanted to make a difference in a child's life. And I wanted that because I was a child with a trauma myself and had often felt not seen, not heard, not understood as a child. So that was a feeling I never wanted to. How do you say that? I didn't want other children to experience. I wanted to give them a voice. But when I became a teacher and I had my own class, there were children that I couldn't reach with all my experience, with all my intentions. They just didn't want to talk to me. So I was wondering what could help me with that. How could I reach those children? And yeah, then I thought maybe I can try something with a puppet. So that's what I did, and that first time was a total mess. The second, the third, and the fourth, the first 20 times were a total mess. But the puppet opened something, and that really fascinated me because even when my activity was a mess, children came back to school and they had made a bracelet for my puppet, or they took a blanket for my puppet because maybe he was cold. So there was something about that puppet, and that really fascinated me. And that was 30 years ago now. And since then, yeah, I've worked with puppets and I've tried to understand what makes a puppet such an unique tool. And now I know it. So, and that was the point that I got started teaching others how to use that really specific and unique power a puppet has, because that's what it is. It is a very valuable tool.
Mm. It sounds really interesting, and I can see where children would want to engage with the puppet because the puppet may well appear to be a child like them, and they can actually engage with that childlike puppet and actually feel some rapport with it as well. And
Yeah.
you touched on when you said that you had some childhood trauma yourself,
Mhm.
and that led you to wanting to work with children and help them. And the fact that I would say many people, I don't think anybody gets through their childhood without some level of trauma.
Yeah.
And very few people have any help in getting past it before they get into their adult life, because that's why we tend to bring our traumas into our adult life.
Yeah.
And so in that respect, how do you feel you would have been different in your with your childhood if you'd had a puppet?
Yeah, what I really needed was a friend, someone who understood me. And I had the privilege that I had a grandmother that really understood me and helped me, supported me. And I still think that she was the one who saved my life, who really saved my life and made it possible to become the one I am today. And her role was something I examined when I was in my teaching school, because she was a sort of um, empathetic witness and helping witness in my life. And the only thing that she did was be there for me and um, look at me, and she understood, for example, that I loved reading, so she provided me books, and she helped me in all kinds of ways. And I was curious if a puppet could have that role in a child's life too. So that is one thing that I discovered from my own childhood. If there is someone, it just has to be one person that believes in the child, that supports the child, that can make a really huge difference for how a child develops in later on in his life. So that was something that um, yeah, that I wanted to discover. But what I saw in my work with puppets and in my work with children is that a puppet, wait, I grabbed one, that when a puppet just says hi, there is already a contact. Because what a puppet can do, and you as an adult can't, a puppet can start all over. A puppet can start from the beginning. He doesn't know anything. If you invite a puppet into a situation, he doesn't have any information, so he can start asking questions, and he can start with just a simple "Hi, how are you doing? Did you have a fun day today?" It just can invite a child into a conversation, and that's such a warm and nice and a feeling for a lot of children. The puppet just want to be their friend, and is not there to judge, is not there to teach them something. It's just there to support them. And um, that makes a lot of difference for a lot of children, because that makes it easier for them to speak to us.
Mm.
And if you
Yes.
succeed to let the puppet be in that role, in the role of a friend, then a lot of things are possible. Then a puppet can invite a child into development, into trying something new, or trying to practice a bit with boundaries, for example, or a different behavior, or try to speak out or tell mom what they want from her. So a puppet isn't a teacher, isn't a second you, but if you use it smart, then you can teach a child a lot through me.
Mm.
But the child doesn't feel it as I am learning something. A lot of children in my classroom often ask me, Miss Helen, when are we starting to learn something? Because we were always, for their feeling, we were always playing. And that was because my puppet was often there and he invited them in adventures, in stories, in all kinds of plans, and the children didn't feel it as learning. They experienced it as playing, but they learned a lot. So
Yes.
that, yeah, so
Yes, that's a really interesting thing because our children do learn more from playing and from just
yeah.
exploring the world than actually being sat down and talked at. And a lot of them do switch off. I know that from my own personal experience. But you actually use the puppets with adults. That's the the uniqueness about what you do. You use it with adults, and you said something before we went live around what difference that makes to the parent or the adult to those children. Can you just touch a little bit on that, on what we actually spoke about, because it's this mind-body connection, isn't it?
Yeah, what I experienced with a puppet, and that's the reason why I started working with adults was because otherwise I just could touch the lives of the 30 kindergartners in my classroom. And if I started to teach others, then I could reach more children. That was my first thought. But the second thing that make me decide that is that I experienced myself that if you use a puppet and start communicating through a puppet with a child, you understand a child much better than you did before, but also you can change something in your own acting, because the child gives the puppet different answers. You get information from the child that you can use to grow yourself as a parent, as an educator, as an adult. And that is the beauty of it, because the most people who come to me because they want to teach a child something. But in the process, they experience that they change themselves too, that they, through the puppet, they get in touch with the child in themselves again. And that makes them more compassionate about themselves often, and they can embrace the child in themselves again. So through the puppet, different layers, not only different layers, deeper layers in the child are touched, but also in yourself. And as a whole, yeah, that's beautiful. That's really a gift, and that's something that most of my students didn't realize. But for them, it wasn't a reason to start working with a puppet. It's just something that is added in the process, and that almost everybody experience as a big gift, because through the puppet I can say for sure that the puppet really changed me, the way I see myself, and the way I, um, um, sorry, the way I work with children. So both are touched by the puppet.
And when we change our perspective, magic happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
adults.
yeah, because that's the whole story for the puppet. Often we see, as we work with a puppet, often we start from our own perspective, we think to how to do it with the puppet. We think how the puppet must respond, and often the puppet is just a second us. And if you change that perspective, if you use the puppet and try to look through a child's eye, then the real magic happens. So that is the shift we all have to make. And if you do that, if you shift your perspective, then you understand children better, because then they tell you things that make you wonder, okay, maybe I was a bit too quick with my assumptions. Maybe, yeah, maybe I didn't ask the right questions, or maybe, yeah, maybe my child's right. So the whole communication changes. And the beauty of a puppet is that it is playful, it is light. There's not something like you did it wrong, because that is not in the puppet's character. A puppet doesn't judge. He will never say you did it wrong. He probably say, yeah, but you tried.
Yes. And I would say this thought's come into my head of, do you train the parent or the adult to work with the puppet in a way that allows the child to open up? Because you've just touched on, it becomes an extension of you. So if the parent doesn't learn that caused the problem in the first place with lack of communication, they're going to repeat it with a puppet. A puppet could become another manipulation tool, I suppose, unless, So
that's the base. That's the basics of all my programs are all about how can I teach you to respond differently, to start looking through your child's eye, and use the puppet to get to the goals you want to come, but in a different way. Because if the puppet is just a second you, then the magic won't happen. Then the puppet is just a second you. So you only can use the real magic of the puppet if you change your perspective. And if you do that, then it's like then you feel like Alice in Wonderland. Then something opens that you have never seen before. And that sounds very big, but when it happens to you, you know, okay, this is what that lady, that Helen lady, that Dutch Helen lady told me what could happen, because it is really as Alice in Wonderland. Then if you do it right, a child takes you with him into its world, and that's where the real magic starts. And there you meet not only the child, but only the child, but also the child in yourself. So that's the beauty of working with a puppet. And I have never found another tool that makes that possible. The only tool that I have found in the last 30 years, and I really have searched for another tool with the same possibilities of a puppet, but I didn't found it. And I know, and that's a bit of a frustration for me, that a lot of people don't like a puppet, or don't feel comfortable with a puppet, or see a puppet like Sesame Street or The Muppet Show or the Fraggles, or something you use in an act. And that's not how I work with puppets. That's not how I use them, because there's so much more possible.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. I can really see how it would change yourself as as the adult and get you to reconnect with some of the things that you probably went through as a child. And then you're speaking from your child part to the child itself.
Yeah.
And that is profound, because it's like mutual therapy in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it definitely is, because then your pain and the child's reality then can connect, and um, that's, yeah, I have talked with a lot of children about my pain as a child, and what happened was that we understood each other better, that I could tell the child if I had done this differently, or if I had told my mother how I felt, that would have made a difference, I think. So, and then you can help the child find the right words. So the whole conversation opens. It's so much more authentic if you use, yeah, use the experiences that you have gone through as a child. Because when we don't deal with that pain, if we don't deal with the wounded part in ourselves, then we transfer it to the next generation. And yeah, you can also choose to let it stop with you, to not transfer some things that you have experienced. You can choose to heal yourself, or at least to try to heal yourself, and find people around you that are supportive for you, that understand where you went through, and yeah, join a community like you have, for example.
Yes, because yeah, it's just, there's so much thoughts coming into my head now, and it's kind of like, if we don't as adults heal our trauma within ourselves, then that will be held in our bodies,
Yeah.
not only detrimental to our relationships with our children, but also with our partner, our friends, our work colleagues, our boss, or whatever.
Yeah.
And our relationship to ourselves as well. So this has been an absolutely fascinating conversation, because we wouldn't normally think in these terms.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, you're doing amazing work. This is just brilliant, and it's completely unique to help not only adults heal the child part of themselves, but improve their relationships with their children. So Helen, I've just got to say, you're doing some sterling work. I love what you're doing. I love getting that deeper understanding, having spoken to you. I just think that's amazing. And how can people actually get in touch with you to learn more if they want to actually access what you do?
Just reach out through Facebook. I write a lot on Facebook. That's my main channel, and I have a website. And I will, if you agree with that, I will put a link beneath this. I have a free mini course for those who want to dive more into what can I expect from a puppet, and how will it change the way I look at things. So so you are invited to join that, and to experience yourself what it does. And believe me, you don't need an expensive puppet. If you have a sock, for example, just a sock in your sock drawer, then you can start using it as a puppet. So you don't need very complicated things. The only thing you need is to be curious and to be open for the possibility that a puppet can do more in the communication with a child than you can.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Helen. I just love
Yeah,
the
you're welcome.
conversation. It's amazing, and no doubt we're going to be speaking again about this,
Okay.
because there's so
I love
much,
that.
so much else we can explore around that mind and that emotions and our own unhealed triggers, sparks, if you like, that actually impact our adult life as well in so many ways. So thank you very much. For anyone listening, please get in touch with Helen. She's in the group. She will be open to conversation, to comments,
Absolutely.
to questions. So please, please connect with her, because it just raises so many questions for me. So Lord knows how many questions it will raise for you who've watched this either live or on replay. So thanks very much. I'm just going to end the live stream, Helen, and we'll have a quick chat. Thank you. Thanks very much for watching, everyone.
Bye. Just reach out.